He still needs a money in the bank briefcase to become champion. He had to fake an injury in order to use the damn thing. You're number two, always gonna be a number two. I'm number one, always gonna be number one.
I am so glad that I am not you.
Chief! Years and years!
I know who I am, you piece of... Stop!
On Raw in Dallas on July 13th, Roman Reigns said what he has been thinking for 12 years. He said Rollins would always be number two. He said Rollins had to fake an injury just to win a title. He said Rollins gets hurt every time he holds gold because he cannot handle the pressure of being number one. And then Seth Rollins looked at him and said the line that made the building go quiet. Everything you just told me, I have been telling myself every single day for the past 15 years. And I am so glad that I am not you. This video is about everything inside those two statements. The 12-year history between two of the greatest performers of their generation. The faked injury Reigns referenced that almost nobody is discussing properly. The pedigree Rollins used, Triple H's move, on Triple H's son-in-law. And what all of it tells you about who walks out of Minneapolis as World Heavyweight Champion.
Gave you all my stuff, and you still couldn't walk in my shoes, number two? Just acknowledge it, bitch.
We're not running the same race. We're not fighting the same fight.
With a microphone and a pedigree.
To understand Dallas, you have to go back to 2014. The Shield, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose was the most dominant faction in WWE Unstoppable for over a year. And then Seth Rollins walked into the ring with a steel chair and attacked Reigns and Ambrose. He aligned with the Authority, broke the group apart in the most memorable betrayal in Shield history. That is the original sin. Rollins chose institutional power over loyalty. In the 12 years since that chair shot, both men built careers in completely different directions. Reigns became the tribal chief, the most dominant world champion of his era, the man whose bloodline storyline redefined long-term WWE storytelling. Rollins became the visionary, the most consistently great in-ring performer of the same era, whose championship runs were always surrounded by complication. The Shield split created two trajectories that ran parallel for 12 years and never fully resolved which one was superior. They collided in Dallas with both men standing at the absolute peak of those paths, and the question that split started still unanswered.
Oh my God! Just happened. Are you kidding me? Rollins now! He's assaulting him! My God, Rollins is destroying Ambrose!
Reigns said something specific in Dallas that has not been discussed enough. He said Rollins used his Money in the Bank contract to win the title and had to fake an injury just to do it. This references a documented 2023 moment. Rollins cashed in his MITB briefcase. The crowd believed the injury was real. He reappeared with the briefcase and cashed in on a vulnerable champion. Multiple analysts at the time noted the injury was at minimum theatrically exaggerated, a manufactured window for the cash-in. Reigns in Dallas called it directly, he had to fake an injury in order to use the damn thing. That is not an insult. It is a documented accusation about a specific title win. And Rollins did not deny it. He talked around it. That omission was the most honest moment in the entire segment.
After all these years, he still needs a Money in the Bank briefcase to become champion. He had to fake an injury in order to use the damn thing.
Reigns' full argument in Dallas was the most historically grounded promo he has delivered in this current title reign. He did not just call Rollins number two. He built a case. He said Rollins wins titles through back doors, the MITB briefcase, the injury angle, the opportunistic cash-in. He said Rollins gets hurt every time he holds a title because he cannot handle the weight and pressure of being the top performer in the company. He said some people are built for the responsibility of being number one and some are not. And he said Rollins, for all his greatness, is not built for it. He called him his number one hater, a character who has defined himself in opposition to Reigns rather than on his own terms. And the crowd in Dallas sided with Reigns, not because they wanted to boo Rollins, because Reigns' argument had a specific credibility that most wrestling promos do not. He was not exaggerating. He was not using theatrical villain logic. He was making an argument that anyone who has watched both men's careers can engage with seriously. Cage-side seats described it as Reigns shifting the narrative to something closer to reality. That phrase, closer to reality, is what made the Dallas contract signing one of the best segments of the year. Both men were speaking truths, just different truths about the same career.
I thank you so much for keeping my title warm for me since WrestleMania.
Yeah, work, Daddy. Triple H is damn near running this joint. And you still couldn't walk in my shoes, number two?
Most people watching felt Reigns had won the verbal exchange. His argument was specific. Documented, it had receipts. Rollins had no clean answer for the MITB accusation or the injuries. And then Rollins said the thing that reframes the conversation. Everything you just said to me, I have been telling myself every single day for the past 15 years. That is not a denial. That is Rollins admitting that the internal voice questioning whether he is good enough, whether he deserves the spot, whether he will ever be number one sounds exactly like Roman Reigns. Then, tell me how I am never going to beat you. Draw as much money. Main event as many WrestleManias. We aren't running the same race. Then, I am a visionary. I am a revolutionary. I am Seth frickin' Rollins. And I am so glad that I am not you. He did not try to claim the same throne. He claimed a different one. He was not trying to be Roman Reigns. He never was. And saying that out loud was the most emotionally honest thing either man said in Dallas.
I am so glad that I am not you.
Now let us talk about the pedigree, when the verbal exchange gave way to a physical one. When Rollins landed the first punch and the contract signing table became a weapon, Seth Rollins hit Roman Reigns with a pedigree. That is Triple H's signature move. The move associated more than any other with Paul Levesque, the man who is now WWE's chief creative officer, whose real-life wife is Stephanie McMahon, and whose real-life son-in-law is Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins chose to use Triple H's most iconic finishing move on the man who is married into Triple H's family. That is not accidental. In the context of a promo that was already about institutional power, about who gets to be number one, about who has the backstage credibility to hold the top spot, Rollins hitting the pedigree on Reigns says something without saying it. It says, I have learned everything from the institution you are protected by, and I am using it against you. Whether intentional booking or not, the image of Rollins standing over Reigns after a pedigree in a contract signing, in a segment explicitly about who runs the company, is one of the most layered visual statements in a WWE promo segment in years.
And a pedigree!
Here is what the Dallas contract signing tells you about who wins the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam in Minneapolis. When a promo exchange ends with one man standing tall physically, Rollins had the pedigree in the Stomp and was the last person upright as the show went off. That is almost always the person who loses the match. Wrestling's oldest storytelling rule: the person who looks strongest before the match frequently gets their comeuppance at the event itself. Rollins standing over Reigns in Dallas is a visual designed to make the eventual Reigns comeback at SummerSlam feel earned. Beyond the booking tell, there is the structural argument. This feud dates to 2014. It has been revisited multiple times over 12 years. neither man has definitively resolved the question of who is truly number one in their shared history. The way WWE has framed this specific version of the rivalry through Reigns' number one and number two argument suggests that the resolution in Minneapolis will need to answer that question definitively. Rollins beating Reigns and becoming World Heavyweight Champion at SummerSlam would be the clearest possible answer. But this is Roman Reigns. And the history of this rivalry says that the question never gets answered cleanly. The last chapter of the Shield story never writes itself as neatly as both men deserve. Roman Reigns called Seth Rollins forever number two. Rollins said he has been saying the same thing to himself every day for 15 years. He hit Reigns with Triple H's pedigree. He stomped him. He stood tall. And in 2 weeks at SummerSlam in Minneapolis, inside US Bank Stadium, in front of the biggest crowd WWE has gathered all year, one of these two men will walk out as the World Heavyweight Champion. 12 years after a chair shot broke the Shield apart. 12 years after the question of who is number one was first asked. The Dallas contract signing is the most important promo exchange in this rivalry since 2014. Subscribe to Alpha War Room. Turn on notifications. SummerSlam is in 2 weeks. See you in the next one.